So here we are live. I had to create a new event because it deleted the old one. I've got some meat already cooking over here, but I'm gonna wait for you guys to get on. So I'll just I'll chop up some ground beef while I wait for somebody. I know Sharon was on last time. I don't know how to orientate it the other way. Is that what you're saying? What? Oh, you don't have to see the part yet. Okay. Say hi, little girl. Hello. Sharon, I hope you found me again. I know you were on the other stream. I can't get it to go the other way, so I'm going to have to watch some videos and educate myself on how to do it the other way. Sure. So tonight we're going to be making Mexican coleslaw. Sorry that it's funky. I don't know how to switch it. I'm going to start pushing buttons, but that kind of scares me a little bit. Hey, Sharon. Okay. Well, we're just going to roll with it this way this week, and I'll have to do some research. This is the one bad thing about having Wi-Fi in my house is that whenever it's turned on to these live cooking classes, my phone like automatically updates, and so then I don't know how to use my own program, which is interesting. All right, so we are going to fry up 1 pound of hamburger. We're going to do this first, even though you don't have to. We want to get this hamburger time to cool. So I just have 1 pound of hamburger over here on the stove. It's a little bit cloudy today, so it's a little darker inside the kitchen. This has become one of our favorite meals. It's super, super easy, and it's delicious. We've taken it to potlucks, and there are several variations on this. I'm going to be doing my own variation of it tonight. But I will read you guys the original ingredients. I'm going to be doubling everything because you guys know how it goes. When we love something, we eat way too much of it, and so I got to make a lot extra. I wish I could say that by doubling this recipe there would be some for lunch tomorrow, but this is such a hardcore favorite that there won't be anything left. So, that tells you how good it is. People just eat and eat and eat until they can't eat it anymore. Alright. So I just have a large bowl over here. We're going to see how much we can fit. This is going to go relatively quickly. So I'm just going to let the ground beef continue to saute, and I'm going to back you guys up a little bit so we can chop up some cabbages. These are smaller size cabbages, probably the typical size cabbage you find in the store. These came from Azure Standard, and I'm going to be chopping these up as the first step here other than handling that ground beef back there. You can do chicken as well if you want. We're going to go ahead and take the cores out of these cabbages. And I'm basically just going to finely slice up this cabbage until my bowl is full, because we have other toppings to add. But the actual recipe calls for 1 pound of coleslaw that's already been chopped. So, I mean, you could chop your own cabbage or buy a coleslaw mix from the store. I've done both when we were going to a barbecue that I knew no one really cared if it was organic or not. I just bought stuff from the store, and this meal comes together even faster when you do that. But it's actually not that much time just to chop your own cabbage if you're making it at home. Organic cabbage is actually one of the more important things to buy organic because of what they put on it to keep away the moths and the insects. You don't really want to be consuming that after it's had it directly poured right on there. So I'm just dicing this up into small pieces, and I'm just going to move it. Hey JK fam, we are making Mexican coleslaw. If you don't add the ground beef, basically it could be just like a side dish at a potluck or something. But we like to add the ground beef to it and make it a complete meal. It's really good. We're going to make a taco type sauce to go, a creamy taco sauce to go on top. Really delicious. It's addicting. Some of the ingredients that you can add are things like street corn, Mexican street corn, which is basically like grilled corn, you know. You could add canned black beans, jalapenos, just anything that you like on your nachos, pretty much. This is where it's going to get thrown. You could even do like diced cheese chunks. That would be good too. It's super good and a super, super fast meal. Now I will say that if you make this ahead of time and you refrigerate it for a couple hours, the flavor's a little bit better. We're just going to eat it right away tonight because we love it no matter what. And like I said, we love it so much that there won't be any leftovers, even though I'm doubling the recipe. So, just in case you just jumped on, we have 1 pound of ground beef in the pan over here, just simmering away till it's all the way cooked. Then we're going to remove that from heat because we want it to start to cool because it's going to go on our coleslaw. And then I'm working on, I just chopped that much cabbage. The recipe calls for 1 pound. I'm going to shoot for 2, and I have no idea how much is in the bowl, so I'm just going to fill it up. Like I said, this is a favorite. I wish I could say that this was my cabbage, but it's not. I cannot control the white demon moths, so I don't know. Last year I tried and tried, and it was bad. It wasn't the demon moths last year. It was the grasshoppers last year. So that's that. But it stinks to put so much effort into a crop and then just have some stupid little butterfly come by and lay its eggs on it, and overnight it's gone. Like it never even happened. So I didn't grow any this year because I just didn't want to deal with it, and I'm super glad I didn't because, as I mentioned last week inside the live cooking class from last week, life is so crazy. I don't know how you young moms do this and have babies. It's just crazy. Naomi is my first baby on the farm. Otherwise, we were living in town. So I've had to have the realization of how difficult it is to have a baby and take care of a house and take care of a homestead. It's just crazy. All right, I am going to go ahead and do this other half because we're almost to the top. This is a huge bowl. Yes, I know. Everybody goes up for seconds. So if you're going to chop your own cabbage for the weight, for the 1 pound, you're going to want to weigh it after you already take the core out. And these aren't very big cabbages, so I'm just going for it. It's probably going to be closer to like 2 1/4 pound with me doubling it and using all the cabbage up here. But as long as you have enough sauce, there's no problem with that. Another option for the jalapeno is you could do green chilies. That's another really good option. And like I said before, if you're just jumping on, sorry about the orientation on the screen. My phone updated when I turned the Wi-Fi on, and I have no idea how to change the orientation once we're live. So, that's that. Okay, so we have a bowl of chopped up cabbage. There it is. And we got ground beef that is pretty much cooked. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. It'll continue to simmer with the stuff that's just light pink in here because it's cast iron. So we'll let that go for a couple more minutes. Okay, so then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add some toppings. So now, like I said, you can add whatever you want to this. The recipe does call for 2 red bell peppers. My family isn't a huge fan of red bell pepper. They'll put up with it, but they don't want that much of it. So I only did 1 red bell pepper. And then this is little cherry tomatoes, and you're supposed to have 1.5 cups, and of course I'm doubling, so we have a ton of fresh cherry tomatoes out of our garden. So I'm going to dump that into here. You could even put raw purple onion, raw white onion in this. Like it's pretty versatile. Yeah, I'm glad it's working too. I just need to figure out how I can make it better. All right, next ingredient, just because we're going to be putting it in. We can't have, on Gaps, we can't have the black beans, and we can't have the Mexican street corn, and we probably shouldn't have the jalapeno. So instead, I'm going to add black olives. These are black olives from Azure Standard, so it doesn't have any of that weird preservative in it. It's healthy olives. Just in case you guys missed my Azure Standard haul, I accidentally ordered the commercial size black olives. So we probably opened the jar today, and I got to come up with a plan on what I'm going to do with them. Okay, so far we have, like I said, if you're going to be making this just the one recipe, not doubling, 1/2 pound of ground beef. We have the 1 pound, obviously a lot more in this one, 1 pound of cabbage. We have 1.5 cups of diced tomatoes. We have 1 red bell pepper, and we have some olives. So what's next is this awesomely green, healthy looking cilantro from Azure Standard. And I am just going to have to find my scissors. Where did they go? Hang on. Here they are. So the recipe calls for 1/2 cup, but I'm doubling because this recipe is the bomb. So I'm just going to put the whole bunch in there. I love cilantro. I used to hate it, and then I did a heavy metal detox using cilantro and some other things, and now I just, when I smell it, my senses just go nuts. It's so cool. All right, so that's our toppings. I'm going to go ahead and remove the ground beef from the heat. I'm going to push it over here so it can start to cool off. Okay? So now we are left with our sauce. You could do avocado slices in this as well. I think that'd be super good. Like I said, cheese chunks, olives, whatever. You can put whatever you would put on your nachos right on in there. I'm going to lower you guys down just a little bit here. So inside this jar, we have homemade mayonnaise. If you don't know how to do this, I do have a video up here on the channel on homemade mayonnaise. I saw somebody post today that regular mayonnaise from the store is $6 a jar. I thought, holy cow. Anyway, you guys can make it on your own. It's totally easy. And then this next step, you wouldn't have to have an immersion blender, but my immersion blender is already dirty, so I'm just going to use this to mix it instead of a spoon. So to this, if you're making one recipe, it'd be 1 cup of mayonnaise, but I'm doubling, so we got double in there. So to the mayonnaise, you're going to want to add 2/3 of a cup of sour cream, and have a spoon prepared would be good too. We had a crazy day today on the farm. We unfortunately, I had actually mentioned it last week, but we unfortunately had some hay spoil from all the flooding rains that we got, and so just the center of the bales, big old round bales, were spoiled. So anyway, the last 2 days, the kids and I have been rebaling, shall we say, about 1,000 pounds of hay by hand, which has been pretty crazy. But we finally finished today, so we're going to have some like ice cream or some sort of yummy treat to celebrate because it was 92 today, and we got to have something. So anyway, I don't know if I'll make it out of kefir or what we'll do, but we're going to have something to celebrate other than the coleslaw. All right, so 2/3 of a cup of sour cream. I'm doubling it though, so don't let that confuse you. So 1 cup of mayonnaise, 2/3 cup of sour cream. We need 3 tablespoons of lime juice. But before we do that, I'm going to add the taco seasoning so I can use the same spoon. So we got homemade taco seasoning here, and you could use the packets. Just make sure you read the ingredients on the back, okay? All right. So for taco seasoning, we need 2 tablespoons. But of course, I'm doubling, so. All right. Now I'm going to add that lime juice. I just bought this lime juice from Azure Standard. I've been waiting for this one. Yes, you have, Jenny. So I'm going to use the lime juice from Azure Standard. You could totally buy fresh limes if you wanted to. I don't have organic limes here, so this is the best I could get. This is not from concentrate. It's just regular lime juice with no preservatives. So we are going to go the one single version of the recipe is only 3 tablespoons, so I got to double that. All right. And then I'm just going to blend it. Now, you could totally do the spoon, so don't be like checking out just because you don't have an immersion blender. Just use a spoon. But my immersion blender is already dirty, and so I'm just going to do it this way. Okay. This is so good. It's so good. You can't stop eating it. And if you are not allowed to have chips currently because you are doing an elimination diet or you just don't want the carbs, this is an amazing way to get a crunch with taco stuff and not have the chips. All right, I'm just going to set this in some water and I'll be right back. Okay. We're back. So now we're just going to pour this over the top. This is such an easy recipe, it's not even funny. I'll use the sour cream spoon. Sometimes this recipe has actually grown out of this bowl for me because we're addicted to it, so I try to make as much as I possibly can. But that doesn't always work out very well. Last time I had to divide it into 2 bowls because I had piled it too high. But we also put green onion, purple onion because Dad wasn't eating with us, and a bunch of other stuff. It was a loaded salad. You could skip the cilantro, but I wouldn't. It adds so much flavor. I actually made this when we had some friends out helping us to harvest some chickens a few weeks ago, and they're on the carnivore diet. But one smell of this coleslaw, they just had to try some. It was so good. But you can see how I doubled this, and if I were to put like a couple of cans of beans in here, you know, the grilled corn in here, all that sort of stuff. You can see how this will quickly grow out of this bowl into one huge meal. And we're going to add that ground beef here in just a minute. It's kind of just cooling back there. I've put it in there warm before, but sometimes it makes the cabbage kind of wilt a little bit. And nobody really wants that when it comes to coleslaw. So the best flavor I ever got out of this dish, though, is when we did refrigerate it for a couple of hours. So it kind of sinks into the cabbage. But I've got, like, 5 hungry kids just waiting for me to be done with my life so they can devour this. So it's not going to get refrigerated for 2 hours. That's just that. We are done. So anyway, like I was saying, our week was full of trying to deal with the hay situation. So yeah, the good news is I think we got roughly around 1,000 pounds of hay that's still good on the bale, which is great. And we got it repressed into square bales. The kids were doing races, and so it's kind of a competition to see who would finish the bales first, because we had 2 totes and baling twine, and we were compressing it with their bodies, our bodies standing on it, and then tying it closed. All right, I'm going to add some ground beef here. Next week, like I said, between now and next week, I'm going to look into the orientation thing and see if I can get it switched. So you guys will be able to zoom in and see this a little bit better. So yummy, okay? That was a little bit more sauce. There we go. It's delicious. I'm gonna have you guys have a little close up here. Super, super yummy. And it didn't heat up the kitchen very much, so that's another reason why I love this meal on our summer list, is because I didn't even have to really heat anything up. It was like 5 minutes of sauteing some ground beef, and then that's it. Let's see. I know that Kathy had asked about seeing the cream cheese process, so I have another process for you guys tonight. Right over here. There it is hanging. So what's happening here is the inside of this is filled with the actual cream cheese. And then the whey is dropping down into this, I don't know if you guys can see it, this cup here. And so the drip has to slow down a little bit more before it's done, but you basically want like a drip and then a pause and then a drip and then a pause sort of thing, so that the cream cheese kind of dries out a little bit. I mean, I could take it down as it is, but then it's going to be sort of more like a spreadable cream cheese than something that you would use for a variety of uses. So it'll hang there for probably another 20 or so minutes, and then it'll be done. So that is that. I have not started on my cookbook because of the hay situation. So I will get on that one of these days. I'm hoping anyway. And then, like I said, I do have that Azure haul video up. And so if you guys haven't seen that, go see that, because I directly compared the spices price, Walmart and Azure's half the cost. So I'm going to try and do something like that every month on my Azure haul videos, because I think some people watch them and they think, how could this be less expensive than Walmart? I'll just go to Walmart. But like, Azure ships all over the United States, so especially with things like dried goods, like spices, you could have that delivered right to your door. You don't even need a drop to enjoy that benefit. So just keep that in mind. I've done that before. I had ordered some spices from Azure, and they shipped it, and it was shipped incomplete, and I was missing a bunch of spices. This was a couple of years back. And so then I said, well, what if I just get online and I order them to my door? So that's exactly what I did. And it worked out just fine. It took them about a week to pack it, though. I think that I happened to order it just as they were packing the next routes. And so I had to wait a little bit longer than I thought I should have, but that was a couple years ago. Maybe it's better now. But the fact is that you'll still get your spices to your door just fine. And like I said, it's half the cost of Walmart. So, yeah, that's that. I'm trying to think of what else we got. I think that's pretty much it. Anybody else have any questions or something they want to talk about? I've got, I don't know, probably 20 pounds of cream cheese inside my freezer at this point. And I have to decide what I'm going to do with this. I couldn't believe it when it came. And it was that big. It was only $8. Like, I've just been, like, super tired lately. Naomi's teething, and we have a lot going on in our life here. And I don't know what I was thinking. Like, there's no way I would pay $8 for a 15-ounce jar. But, like, when this came out of the box, I was like, that's like a year's supply of olives for us. So anyway, if you have any olive recipes that are good, let me know. I was going to water bath can them. I was going to repackage them because people do that all the time with these number 10 cans. But I specifically bought these olives from Azure Standard because it doesn't have any of that ferrous gluconate in it. It's that preservative they put in there. It's nasty. So this doesn't have that, and so that's why I bought them. But then I started thinking about it. I'm like, there's all these people who are doing these canning videos of like recanning them, like jarring them up and recanning them, and I don't know. I'm a little bit nervous about doing it without the chemical preservative in there. It does have lactic acid in it, which is like what fermented vegetables make on their own to preserve themselves. I just don't know if it's going to be acidic enough like the brine would be with the chemical. So what I might have to do is like get out a pH test strip and test the liquid and see if it's acidic enough to water bath can. Because I don't want to pressure can them because they'll fall apart. So anyway, or I might freeze them. Maybe I'll do a combination of all of it. I'm not sure. But it was definitely a big oopsie. So that just tells you that the olives from Azure Standard are very affordable because they'll sell you a huge 10-pound or number 10 can of them for $8. Pretty crazy. So anyway, all right, you guys. Well, I'm going to let you go because our dinner's done. So you guys make sure you hit the thumbs up, please. That helps with the algorithm. And I'll see you guys next week. You guys all take care.